Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today I'm sharing a double 8.5 by 11 layout. This is for Scrapbook Generations design team. I'm using a sketch by Allison Davis from the 8 photo sketches, 2-page. They're 12 by 12 in the sketch designs, and they are all created by Allison Davis. You get the bundle when you buy the pack from Scrapbook Generations. I'm using sketch number 7. And I actually have 7 photos instead of 8. I had to adjust it for 8.5 by 11. I'm also using 4 by 6 photos, which are awfully large for a double 8.5 by 11. I'm also trying to use up this collection from Echopark that I am still working my way through, and I have quite a few pieces still left of it at this point. I can tell you right now, as I'm doing the voiceover, I'm down to one layout that will be left using this collection, and then I will be done with it. So I'm very excited for that, but until then, I'm going to keep digging away at it. So this layout here is up next, and I still have this full sheet of cut aparts. The back side of it is palm trees, and to me, they're not the cutest palm trees or design, I guess. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to use that one up. I do use one of the cut aparts, I believe, on this one, but I just use it as like a photo map. I still have some of the leaf paper. I'm going to fussy cut some more of those leaves, and I'm going to get started on the layout. I did choose to put this background back in. I don't think I showed it with the papers. I was talking. I don't think I showed it though. It came from my stash. It's just paper pad paper that looks kind of like wood grain. It's like a light bluish color. Most of it's going to get covered up, but it made for the perfect background versus using white cardstock. Anything to not use white cardstock is usually my go-to, just because I don't like white cardstock. So I'm just going to use this paper in the background instead. Right now in the sketch, she has something that looks like strips of paper basically. I'm going to make it look more like a fence. And I also flipped the layout. So I put what was on the right hand side on the left hand side. And then I did take one element from the left hand side and kept it on the left hand side. And that is the angled photo. But it's not in the same place since the photo placement is not the same. And I also eliminated one of the photos. But kind of, sort of, it definitely looks like the sketch, but it's just playing it up. And again, I'm adjusting it to fit my size of layout. I also extended the strips of paper that she had at the top. She only shows it at the top on the right hand side, I believe. And I stretched it across the layout. And I ran out of wood grain because you saw the piece, I only had like a scrap piece left. And I stretched it and I made it work all the way across because I'm going to actually place a photo up there at the top on the right hand side. So it's going to cover that up. And again, since I'm trying to use up the collection, I went ahead and matted each of the photos, or 3 of the photos, in pattern paper. Here's one of those little 3x4 cards that I had on that cut apart. I went ahead and cut it out so that I could get a piece of yellow paper. Since the yellow paper is also the leaf paper, so I wanted to fussy cut a lot of the leaves. So I did not use that yellow paper. I used the little cut aparts that I had instead. Here's another cut apart. I'm going to place this photo right on top of it. And if you get a chance to check out the close-ups, my son's face is hilarious. Um, he was at a stage that, let's make the funniest faces I possibly can each time mom asks me to take a picture. So I was just playing it up. I kept snapping pictures, and I was like, well, one day I'll scrapbook them and they'll be in your album and you'll get to see how silly you looked. And he's like, whatever, I don't care. So he's just playing in a little like river. It's not very deep. I don't even think it's a foot deep. In some places, it's a little bit deeper, and the kids love to play in it, and they are allowed to play in it. It has a like a splash park that's also in this park, and they're allowed to play in all of the water areas. So he loved going to this park in the summertime. And it also has like a playground that they can play on. So that's what he's doing in the photos that I'm going to place on the right hand side. It's a jungle gym structure, and he climbed all the way to the top of it and then sat down and was again being silly and taking pictures. So I just played it up and kept taking pictures. And there's another one of those cut aparts. I just used it as like paper to put behind there. Instead of using play foam, I used just regular paper and made it as high as the photo so that it was laying on top of it and it was even. Sometimes I do that versus using play foam because, again, I'm trying not to add so much dimension to layouts. But sometimes you really need dimension on your layouts because you have things overlapping and you don't want it to look, otherwise, it'll look indented or crooked because it's not straight. So that was my reason for doing that. So here's the photos of him climbing on the jungle gym, and they are not in any particular order. They're just, funny pictures of him, and he's inside of this like uh, globe, I guess. I don't know what you would call that. Um, Kind of triangles and hexagons is what it's really made out of. But it's a really cool shape. I actually have pictures of my younger son playing on this same structure because it is still in the same park. And it has ropes going through the middle, not bars. And they love to climb on it. All the kids love to climb on it. As you can see, there's not very many other kids in the photos. We were a little bit later in the afternoon, and usually if you showed up later in like the evening time, like dinner time or so, in this particular neighborhood, everybody's home eating dinner, and you get to play in the park all by yourself or, with one or two other kids. But you don't have to really share a whole lot of stuff. You get to just run around and play. And my son actually liked it that way. He preferred to be there, not necessarily by himself, but he definitely preferred to be there with less kids running around. So that's usually when we went. So there's some of the little like surfboards. Again, I'm just using those as design purposes. We're not surfing, we're not anywhere near the ocean. And this collection is a beach collection, but anything that says beach on it, I try to hide or not use. But if it kind of sort of plays with the theme of water, then I'm trying to make it work. And the surfboards just added a little bit more up there, and then I was able to add that little car in there also that has a surfboard on it. So I went ahead for this one and played up the surfboards. So here I'm adding a little tello and flip-flops. I added flip-flops over there on the other side too in that cluster. And then I added, what did I add over there for yellow? I know I added something yellow over there also. I can't see it in my screen, but basically I was trying to get a little bit of each of the same colors over there too. And then I added one of those little paper signs, I guess. One says loving summer, and this one over here says fun in the sun. And those were cut from another one of the pattern papers. All of these leaves I fussy cut, and I'm just tucking into the cluster and using them around for color and just to add a little bit something to the clusters. I made the clusters in different places and added more to them than what Allison shows in the sketch. I love having embellishments on my layouts, and I love adding little details to each of the clusters and making them bigger than what usually is in any sketch that I use. But so I went ahead and did that, and I used all the little leaves that I had fussy cut, and I just kept tucking them in. And I have lots of color going on this layout, And I think it goes perfectly with the photos because there's not a whole lot going on in the photos. I mean, my son still stands out in all of the photos. And then I have these cute little embellishment areas. The sunny days, which I'll pull in here in a minute, is going to be my title up at the top. That's from American Crafts, and that was a thicker set. I don't remember when it came out, probably 2 years ago. And I just loved the orange, and it matched perfectly with the Echopark papers. So that's what I'm going to use for my title is Sunny Days. But before I put it down, right now it's on a wax paper. I'm going to add some leaves coming out of the fence that I put at the top. And then I'm going to place the Sunny right on top of it. And I do use liquid glue to put that down because it is foam. But once you stick it to the wax paper and kind of play with it for a while, it's not as sticky as it should be. So I want it to stay long term. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue. But first, I'm going to keep adding embellishments up here. Now I have a little pair of swim trunks and a camera. And I believe I'm going to bring in some more little surfboards to put up here at the top also. And then I'm also going to pop in some more little leaves up here at the top. And I could have probably sped this up a little bit more. It's almost 15 minutes long, but I really wanted to show the process and how much detail I put into the layouts. And I definitely love using the sketches as a jumping off point. I wouldn't have thought of this design for the photo placements without the sketch. But then adding in like all of the little clusters and the different things to add to the title and stuff like that was all my design. That came from me after the fact. But, sometimes when you get started on a layout, the biggest problem or issue I run into is figuring out how I'm going to put my photos on the paper. Usually embellishing and, doing that part of the design comes very easily to me. So I don't really take too much concern when I'm looking at a sketch of where they have the embellishments and stuff. Sometimes I look at it and go, oh, I can put one there, or I can move this one from here and put it down here. But mainly I'm looking at photo placements, and that's what I love about Allison's sketches is she always has lots of sketches that use a lot of photos versus one or two photos. And I really can't do any more layouts that are just one or two photos because I have so many layouts of both of my sons. And I'm beginning to realize that. So I really want to just play up the double page sketches as much as I can and go ahead and use them and still be able to create, but not create as many layouts just by doing single photos. I just can't do single photos anymore. And plus, since I've been doing so many layouts with multiple photos, it's actually getting harder to do single photo layouts because I always want to add more photos and I'm like, oh, I only have one photo. Because sometimes you really do only have one photo. But I'm really trying to do the sketches that have more photos on them and use a lot more photos on my layouts and get my older son's albums complete. Here soon, probably at the end of summer, I will probably be able to start doing a few flip throughs of his albums and show how they actually go in his albums. And, you'll be able to see how I add the landscape ones and the portrait ones and the double pages. And it doesn't matter that landscape goes the opposite way of the portrait. They're all still in his albums, and it's very easy to turn an 8.5 by 11 layout or album because it is just a binder from the office, like office stores is where I get them from. Now I buy them online. I buy them from Amazon in packs of like 6 usually, and most of his albums are 2 to 3 inches, depending on what year it is. Most of them are 2 inches, just because I do find 3 inches is kind of heavy and bulky, but 2 inches holds quite a few layouts in it. And he has probably two for each year of his life. until he's about 10 years old. And then it starts fizzling out slowly because then he stopped allowing me to take photos, just like his brother. Here, I'm just adding some of these puppy stickers from Doodlebug. And I'm going to put Library Park down here at the bottom. Like I said, that was just the name of this park. It was right next door to the library. So we call it the Library Park. I think it's actually called Civic Green is its real name. But he always referred to it as Library Park because he remembered it was next to the library. And then up at the top, I put the date, which was July 26th of '06. So almost 20 years ago. So it's definitely time to get these photos scrapbooked and in his albums. So here you go, a little bit of close-ups. I will definitely have some more close-ups at the end. And I hope you guys will check out Allison's sketches and pick up your own bundle of 10 sketches and play with some of her sketches and see what you come up with to create. I would love to see them. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you like what you saw, and come back and see another video. Bye.